Okay, we're back here. Just gonna make sure my book doesn't close out on me. Okay, so lots of key details there. Lots of really good information about Jane Goodall. Um, so as a good reader, I definitely would be going back and forth and stopping more often. But as you can see, I was trying to do a lot of reading, especially just to have you all start to kind of think about what we would maybe want to add to this. So youth and adulthood. Loved to learn. Learn. Oh, it's always good to back and reread. To learn about other countries. Went to school to become secretary. To travel world. Able to move to Kenya. And helped her meet Dr. Leakey. And go back into the book. Make sure I get the and Mary. Dr. Lewis and Mary Leakey. Basically taught her how to study fossils and animals. Really, really pretty big deal for her. So I definitely have a lot of details there, but that was some really big stuff. And so that was her youth and adulthood. Okay, so kind of thinking challenges, problems. Doesn't really have a lot of big problems. Part of it. She was pretty smart, knew a lot of knowledge about animals. Probably one of her problems is had to save money to get to Kenya. Had to, and then we also, I guess a problem, had to earn trust of, was David Greybeard. If you remember here, she had to go back and she basically had to earn the trust of of all the chimpanzees. Of chimpanzees she wanted to study. Okay, so those are some pretty big things so far. We're going to continue reading here. We're going to be thinking about achievement, good things, contributions she made, if there's any more problems, and also just what was history kind of like during this time too. But we're going to keep on going. After more time and a great deal of patience on Jane's part, the chimpanzees began to trust her. Every day, Jane moved closer to them. Some of them became upset, but David Greybeard knew Jane had seemed to calm the others. Their trust of Jane grew, and soon she was able to sit among them. Jane studied the chimpanzees and the ways they did things. She noticed that some of them were stronger, smarter, and were more friendly than others. Some shared their food, and some played with the younger chimpanzees. Some other chimpanzees even seemed to take better care of their babies than others did. So I'm not going to read these parts here, and I'm not going to read every part of this book, but if this seems like a really interesting book to you, it's an epic, just about Jane Goodall. Let's see here, make sure I'm going to get to one. Yeah, I guess, so some of her big accomplishments, even going back here, it may not seem big, but what she is noticing is she's starting to learn like their behaviors. She's really like, and this was, they're not right now, they're not, to me they're not pointed out enough, but there was a lot of things unknown about chimpanzees just because they were afraid of humans. But since she earned their trust, she could sit and learn a lot about them and their behaviors. Pretty cool, pretty big deal. Like this one is a really cool one. One day Jane was watching David Greybeard and a chimpanzee named Goliath. They seemed to be digging at a termite mound. Instead, she realized that they were putting sticks into holes in the mound. When they pulled the sticks out, they would eat the termites that were stuck to the stick. This was the first time that anyone had ever seen a chimpanzee use a stick like this. They were using the sticks like tools. Before this discovery, scientists thought that only people used tools. So, pretty big deal. As Jane worked, she reported her observations and discoveries to Dr. Leakey and other scientists. Many people became interested in her work. Her reports and studies started to be published in important magazines such as National Geographic. Really, really big deal. Jane Goodall has been on the cover of National Geographic more than any other scientist who studies animals. So very cool accomplishments for her. A couple more things. Basically, I'm gonna go to this part here. Eventually, she got married, which was really sad. Or she got married, but then she divorced. Then she got married again. Especially to this guy named Derek Bryson. He was a director of one of Tanzania's national parks, but he died very, very soon after they got married. So some of her personal life things, not as happy. I know that a couple biographies I've read about her, she always talks about how the chimpanzees and her work with animals always really helped her get through some hard times. But however, through it all, Jane continued the work she loved. Finally, in 1986, she decided to end her research. Now she just travels the world, talking with people everywhere, all about that she has learned. One of the biggest things that she did, 1977, the Jane Goodall Institute was begun. Its purpose is to support people in making a difference for living things around the world, which is probably one of the biggest accomplishments that she made. So, I'm going to stop it there, and we'll go back and we'll finish our graphic organizer, but just think maybe what